Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's July 2018 council meeting. It is somewhat historic. This will be the first of 48 scheduled regular meetings of this new council. And this also is a historic council. We have three ladies with us tonight. Mr. Green said if he'd known where he was going to sit, he may have run again. But it's great to have everybody here. We have a
thorn amongst the roses.
We have a busy agenda. I'll ask you to join us in a moment of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight, and thank you for this new term that we're about to begin. We thank you for all the many people who've come here with different causes, different interests. Some just want to see government close to home. We thank you for all of them. Please guide this new council. Help us to find some chemistry early on tonight and tackle some big issues and some exciting issues that lie ahead. And we ask for these things in the name of your Son and our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
We now invite you to join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. We will move right along. Before I get into the agenda, is there any issues that anyone knows of they'd like to add to the agenda? You can still do so later on, but sometimes I like to get a feel early on if someone would like to add an issue to the agenda.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
As a part of and associated with the rezoning request on the Gravett Avenue,
yes,
I would like to talk about utilities and specifically electric.
So under unfinished number 1, we'll add 1A, electricity to the Gravett. Very good. And Mr. Miller, you had something?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, on the unfinished business, down on item 7, I would like you to go on item 7, Miss Brenda Ray.
Brenda White?
Brenda White.
And that would be under unfinished number 7?
Yes.
Okay, any other members of council or staff? Something comes up during the meeting, you know I'm flexible? Very good. Ladies and gentlemen, our first order tonight is a public hearing on a rezoning request from Moonlight Mechanical. This is the 102 Pine Road. It's actually the vacant or idle Spirit of Life Ministry building, Mr. Van Norbeck. It's a rezoning 9 acres from R2 residential to M1 light manufacturing.
There's a request for conditional rezoning. The Planning Commission has met and considered and accepted the proffers that are attached at the bottom of the first page of the application. The request is rezoned from, I believe, R2 into the the M1 light manufacturing district. The specific use initially is for a warehouse for a mechanical company, and that's the name Moonlight Mechanical. I don't know if I see, is anybody here representing?
Out of town, so
Not going to be here tonight. Planning Commission did recommend approval, and it is to rezone 3 tax parcels, of which there is a copy of a drawing attached. Please disregard the acres, because that's me using the county's GIS system, attaching dots to dots. But those are the 3 parcels. They will run from Sullivan Street along the south side of Pine Street, and then to the rear of the property owned by Lina Judah Church, and runs to the creek, and the creek forms the southern boundary for the most part of the property.
The applicant who's making this request, just for the audience benefit, is Judson Argo and Narecia Argo. They're out of North Chesterfield. And I understand they're not here. At this time, we'll go into public hearing. Anyone to speak for or against the proposed rezoning to accommodate this venture? Yes, ma'am. If you'll come, since we're a public hearing, if you come to the podium and state your name. We're going to be a little formal tonight since our first... My
name is Barbara Jones. I own a house on Pine Road. The thing I was mostly concerned about was the rezoning, if it was going to interfere with the 3 houses going down Pine Road to the left. Or it's just going to be rezoning on the right side.
Just the site itself. If you take a right-hand turn or a left-hand turn from North Main Street onto Pine Road, this property that's being rezoned is on the right, down below or behind Lion of Judah Ministries. That's.
If I may very quickly, the property that's in the blue shade is that which being proposed for rezoning. The 3 houses, this is Southside Transmission, and these are the 3 houses. So the actual rezoning does not apply to the property, only across the street.
That was my concern.
And just so the audience has benefit, the activities are Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And they said if they're there on Sundays, it would only be indoor activity. Am I right, Mr. Van Norbeck?
No Sunday activity.
Okay. Any other concerns? Good question.
And when we say activities, that doesn't mean they can't be at their building. So everybody understands, activities are they're not using a forklift and making noise and backup beepers. They can be in there maybe doing bookkeeping or doing administrative type things, but they won't have truck deliveries and that sort of thing.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Anyone else tonight? Was the planning commission recommendation unanimous?
It was.
It was 5-0, okay. I will close the public hearing. Members of council, what's your pleasure?
Have all the neighbors been contacted?
We sent out letters for the planning commission public hearing and for this public hearing.
How was the current zoning is R2? How is the church operating in R2?
Since churches, I don't have my zoning ordinance here, but churches are typically used by right in residential.
Okay.
Playgrounds, churches, kind of benign activities like that.
I had a question. That church, the Lion of Judah, meets on Saturdays. Is that going to affect their church services, the activities?
You got a good point. I don't know the answer to that question. I do think there's quite a bit of buffer between the two,
Is there?
but they do meet on Saturday. I think you're right. I think it's valid.
Were they notified as an adjoining property owner?
They were
They
notified.
get certified, all adjoining property owners get certified letters.
That was
They
my
are
question.
certified.
They are,
That was my question. Who've been notified?
and they're certified by the clerk,
I
but they've been
certify
sent.
that I mailed them.
Okay.
We don't send those exactly certified, but I did get 2 that came back that were old residential properties. So if they're gonna come back, I would have gotten them by now.
Okay, but you did not get one back from Lion of Judah, where that address is current, obviously.
May I move to accept the planning council's commission and approve the request as presented?
Mr. Nash is seconding Mr. Green's motion. Any further discussion? We'll go with a voice vote. All in favor say aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. You have your minutes from the continued meeting, the regular meeting, and the continued meeting of June 27th.
Move to dispense of the reading and approve as presented for the June 6th, June 18th, and June 27th.
Second, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Green is seconding Mr. Nash's motion. Any other discussion? They're good minutes, and members of council, you will find that our clerk captures the wording and the spirit of what was said at the meetings. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. At this time, we will recognize our visitors, both on the agenda and those who wish to speak elsewhere, otherwise. And our first one is Blackstone Chamber Arts and Crafts. We have our dynamic duo, I believe, of just April Wright is going to speak tonight.
Hi, everyone.
Hello, it's that time again, isn't it?
Ms. Quick? Yes, I'm here representing the Blackstone Chamber of Commerce. In your packet, we sent information regarding the 49th Festival. It's on September 8th and 9th. And first of all, welcome to all the new members. Typically what we do is we'll do one vote for all of the items except the bottom of our fire department. We'll visit that one later.
Okay.
But to waive the banner fee, use the armory, block your streets, and you have the map, and there will be no changes this year. Your police escort for the 5K, as well as the tractor parade.
Very good. Pretty much boilerplate, no changes from last year. Okay. Members of council, what's your pleasure? This is an annual event, and it's, the schematics are the same as they were last year.
Approve all 5 banner application and use of armory and the street closures and permission for police escort.
Second.
Ms. Thompson has seconded Mr. Nash's motion. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
And then do you need
The
a
ayes have
vote
it.
for the book drive?
We do, yes. And I like to do that separately, just because that's.
I move to approve for the same locations as before.
And where are those locations, just as a refresher? They are not on the town, are they town entrances?
Yes.
They're out on the town entrance, so one year they moved inward,
Except for South Main. South Main is,
it's like Fifth Street.
Fifth Street and Main, we do church at Showbest, Dinwiddie at town limits. North Main, we're gonna move it back because of complaints, so it's gonna be further closer to the town limits. And then Southwest is right at Bass Lane.
So mainly you're capturing those persons entering town or those who were misguided enough to leave town. We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Well, that motion passed, didn't it? On the, all right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and that is,
Did anybody second it?
no one seconded the boot drive.
I second.
Nathaniel Miller seconded. All in favor say aye on the boot drive.
Aye.
Aye, all right, very good, very good. I have something I want to bring up, throw a curveball at you, but I've got an email. As many of you may know here, and I want everybody to respect the families. They want to keep this low key, but it's going to be rather public this week. Bobby Daniels, among the many things he's done for this community, is he's always paid $500 for the petting zoo. The owner of the petting zoo contacted me at the newspaper and just wanted to inform me that right now there's no one has secured their services for the petting zoo, which is very popular for the children at the Arts and Crafts Festival. I told her, I said, listen, I would announce that, hoping that some corporate citizen steps forward. I don't think the town, if the town were to even consider doing that, would have to do so right now. But I want to get that out in the arena, and I'm sure you already know about it.
We are aware of it. She contacted the chamber. The chamber didn't have it in the budget this
Right.
late in the game.
It's $500 for the weekend.
And so we advised her that we would not be having the petting zoo this year. We might revisit next year.
Do you have time? You have time to obtain her services?
I think so. Based on my emails to her, I believe we do.
Well, we just budgeted a discretionary fund. I move that council use the discretionary fund to hire the services for the petting zoo for the weekend arts and crafts.
Hold on a second, I have input on it, and it's probably a personal opinion, but I didn't really like the way that she handled it.
Okay.
After we advised her that we didn't have the budget, she turned around and called Bobby Daniels' family anyway, and he's a nice gentleman, and he said, sure, I'll go ahead and pay for it. So we in turn said, no, we told you not to do that, please leave their family alone. So I kind of got a bad taste in my mouth from her. Am I portraying that correctly, Jane? Absolutely.
Well, I understand your position.
$500 out of this and getting to do her service
Well-
when she really went about it.
Well, let's put the personalities aside and let's talk about whether or not it's a value to the community and the children. You know,
We do have other things being, that are going on at Arts and Crafts.
right.
Oh, it's not going to make or break the Arts and Crafts Festival. I'll just tell you, there's one who photographs the festival and looks for the happy moments. Those kids love those animals, but they love other things too.
I
But
think, well, as you said, that I think the corporate entities in town may step up, to be honest.
Percent.
all right, why don't we just take put this on the agenda if necessary for August? I will communicate to her that there was some interest, but we also would love, it would be a great opportunity for corporate citizens, get some good ink out of it as well, publicity.
I'll rescind my motion.
Okay, very good. So you've withdrawn that motion. Thank you for all y'all do. I wasn't trying to get in
No,
the,
and you're right, I would love to have the event,
Right.
but the way that it all went about, I was kind of uncomfortable with using
Sure.
her services.
I had not heard that, so I thank you.
Well, Billy, maybe we can talk with you before you talk with him.
Absolutely. I'm not doing anything. I didn't want, I know this was the annual meeting where y'all talk about arts and crafts. I didn't want the opportunity to go by without bringing that up.
The only reason I brought it up, April, is I've witnessed firsthand how much the children love it.
They do,
You know,
and,
But
I'm not against that. I mean, I would love to have it. I think it's a draw. But I don't know that I would be comfortable with her services.
Okay.
But we'll just see how it all goes.
All right. Very good. That's all the arts and crafts
Yes.
issues. Thank you very much. Thank you, April. Mr. Mitchell, you look like you want to say something.
I was gonna let you know, I went to see Bobby today,
Yes.
and he saw me, he said, what the? He eating good and he talks very much, but he kind of, his mind comes and goes, I went in the first person, and he went to take his treatment, then it's like looking at, taking him all over, coming all over again, the second time. But he forgets sometimes who they are, where you are, but just remember that, but eating good, he's doing well, he talks really good. It's should be about a year or so before he gets set back to halfway back together. And you'll pray for him.
Absolutely. No doubt. And I believe the council did send him something a few weeks ago. Very good. Our next scheduled visitor is Josh Johnson regarding the town square.
How you doing, sir?
Good.
My name's Christopher Page.
I didn't think you were Josh Johnson.
No. He sent me in this place. I'm sorry about
Your name is Christopher Page?
Yeah, Christopher Page.
Okay.
I'm the actual kitchen manager over at the brew house.
Great, okay.
Thank you guys for your time, allowing me to come speak with you today. We actually are requesting the use of the town square on Main Street for a live karaoke competition. Every Tuesday and Saturday night at the brew house, we have karaoke events. They've become very popular with a wide range of ages of singers. We have people from 15 years old up to 60-year-olds coming out and having a good time, just like a family environment. We always get asked about doing a karaoke contest, so for the last month or so, we've been trying to put that together. We'd like to use the event on, the town square on September 22nd. That'll start off our 7-week karaoke competition. There will be judges, cash prizes for the winners, and the use of the square will just be kicking off the event. The remaining 6 weeks of the competition will be held at the Brew House.
Very good.
We anticipate approximately about 100 or 200 attendees. We already have around 15 singers signed up, and that's before we went public.
Yeah.
So we'll have an advertising campaign. If there's other citizens in Blackstone that would like to sign up, we'd love for them to come and join the competition. The event will be free to the public, but there is an entry or registration fee for the singers. That allows us to give away the cash prizes at the end, and it'll be an all-ages show. Food would be available for sale and provided by the Brew House. All health department regulations will be adhered to, and it will be our responsibility. There'll also be beer and wine served on the premises. We'll have a rule of up to 5 beer or wine tickets that can be purchased per person. All ABC regulations will be adhered to and will be the responsibility of the Brew House as well. This is a Brew House event, so it's not really any other businesses or responsible for stuff like that. So we'll provide the security, the insurance, the permits, and anything else that the council will allow us to have the event. We will require electricity for our sound systems.
All right.
Trash pickup will be by the Brew House. We do plan to have some sponsors for the event, and banners not more than 3x5 shall be attached to the fencing. I think there's a banner fee, is that right?
No, there wouldn't be a banner
Not-
fee.
Not historically there, but it's nice of you to remember our banner policy, but we've never charged anybody for that.
If it's not across the street, it's inside the square.
Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Do we have a fee for using the place?
That's,
Well, I don't,
DBI's never charged anybody, I don't think. I know that the guy, Mr. Thompson doing the produce, I don't believe he's paying anything.
no. But it's looked at as is it a service to the community, or is it a private event? If it was a private event, then it would be.
Right. Free admission. You would let members of council, if they wanted to sing, they'd be allowed to sing, wouldn't they?
Absolutely.
I just want to make sure of
We'd
that.
even invite some member of the council to judge some of the competitions as well.
Duet.
We'd like to have some judges for our competition, so we'll be looking into that. So.
Mr. Miller has a question.
Yes, sir.
Now, going back to what you were saying, you're saying that there is no fee to use that, right?
it had never
I
really
don't
been
think we've
used
ever,
by.
I can't recall a time that we've ever charged to use the town square.
I agree.
Has private enterprise ever used it?
That's what I was thinking. I don't
Yeah.
think of.
I mean,
Private
I would like to see that. I would like to see, private people use the square more. The more people using the square, the better. But maybe it's something that you could go to committee with and have some rules and regulations.
Buildings and Properties Committee would be ideal. I know that Willow, like for example, we do have a business in there right now every Thursday selling produce, Willow Land Farm. And I don't believe he is selling,
As part of the farmer's market that's put on by a town entity, a town-sponsored entity,
right,
VDI.
right.
The mayor and I spoke through text today about it, and I had a couple ideas. I would suggest that we might approve the first request, with the second to be approved if it all goes well. There doesn't seem to be a problem. I'd also you mentioned security. I would think the town would be best served if we had an off-duty officer there during the time. And I would like to see the council put a restriction on that local police department could shut it down at any time if it got out of hand, which I don't see it doing. But in the past 12 years up here, I've seen it all, and you have to think about these things. But those are the things that I'd like y'all to think about.
The reason why I was asking the question, I was just asking the question in case, he does it, and then, somebody else see the idea, and they might want to do it, you see what I'm saying? That's why I asked the question.
If I could just respond to some of those concerns. with the safety and security, we do have some things in place. We'll have our own security on site. We'll have barricades up so people can't take alcohol out of the square. We're gonna notify the Blackstone Police Department so we can have an officer on site, let them know the event. We're gonna have 21 years of older, of course, in order to drink. We'll have wristbands. Anybody underneath that, their hands will be marked with X with permanent markers. They won't be able to buy the tickets. It's not cash for beer, it's tickets for beer.
Buy the
To
tickets
buy
first.
You have to get a wristband.
It sounds, without interrupting you, it sounds, folks, identical to what DBI concerts were. Identical. I think this is totally benign, and here's the good news, because I'm sitting there thinking, what if I were a restaurant? For example, let's take this restaurant next door. You may actually help your own restaurant, but also help the restaurant from people who want to go there and dine and maybe listen to the karaoke. So I think it's a potential win-win for everybody.
How much was the insurance if the town bought the insurance?
I don't remember, it was like $500.
500.
Really?
Because of the alcohol.
The override, the rider.
Are we able to buy it cheaper than they could buy it? Or do we always buy it and be reimbursed?
We probably ought to stay out of it, I would think, being that it's
I don't know.
private.
I mean, I got a wild idea. I might as well go out with a bang. I mean, I'd like to see all of them do it downtown. I mean, maybe you could see a way to encourage it by giving them one shot a year or something. I mean,
We do have an ABC license, allows us to sell off premises.
You said insurance would be handled by the brew house. I think, folks, the brew house is taking on the burden.
the only thing that maybe, I understand what you said about your security, but you didn't have to sit up here and live through Lucky Eights, and I did. So, I'm sorry, but one bad apple ruins the whole barrel. So I would feel much better if you had a town of Blackstone officer or sheriff's department deputy, or even if our good friends in crew, something like that, just to give me some at ease about it.
Absolutely. Like I said, this is definitely part of our proposal to notify them, allow them to find out if we can have an officer there. I will let you know that these events have been going on at the brew house since January. We build our show up, our karaoke show. There are some times that we are so busy that we are open until 2 in the morning. I don't think we've had any instances at all. The office.
Well, I remember karaoke down here at Gus Mitchell's old place. You couldn't get in the
There's
place.
state championship down there, and I've got a scanner in my house that I listen to more than I should. I've never heard a call for a brew house situation at karaoke night.
On any, pretty much, we have our customer base is pretty tame.
Yeah.
We follow all ABC regulations, so we'll cut customers off if they need to be. We'll provide them with water, let them sit up on the front porch for a little bit to cool off. We'll call them a taxi, whatever we need to do. We've doing events, live events, and things like that, karaoke, DJ nights. We haven't had any issues at all. No.
Well, I'm certainly impressed with your presentation and with your sincere. I think you're on top of it. If council doesn't mind, I have a motion. I would ask council to approve the first request, with the second being approved if all goes well. Require an off-duty police officer.
There's only one request now. There's just one request.
No, it's two.
You said it was that 2 events.
Two events.
Right now, we were originally going to ask for a second event. We're going to try to hold a fall festival out there as well. However, unfortunately, we're opening a new location in Farmville. We've got a lot of things going on. We haven't been able to put the details of that event together. I'm probably going to bring it back to council.
Okay, let's stick with this tonight. Yes,
So
sir.
forget that. I would make the motion to approve the request with the caveat of requiring an off-duty police officer, granting the Blackstone Police Department the ability to shut the venue down at their discretion. And that's about it. Other than that, good luck.
Mr. Green's made a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Ms. Hasbrook is seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Would you,
Yes.
just to humor me, would you send it to committee? I mean, I would like to see, maybe we could work with the
And I will
merchants.
also at this time refer to the Buildings and Properties Committee, whose composition will be voted on later by the council, rules and regulations for the town square.
And just to make sure that all trash is cleaned up, I mean, if not, I believe there should be a fee charged by the town for cleanup, if it is.
We have no problem with cleanup, and I think that, like you said, the spike in the amount of people down in the square will not only bring business to other businesses and the brew house, but also increase sales tax, or food tax revenue.
You picked a Saturday night, which is why Saturday night, 20 years ago, downtown was bustling Friday night and Saturday night. I've noticed recently, Friday night's pretty big, Saturday has been it ends at like 7:30, and so this is good. This will maybe make that a stimulating night in Blackstone.
I don't know, Saturday we were open till 2 because we were so busy, so.
I'm going to bed earlier than I used to in the 90s, though.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Make sure we have another show.
Best wishes. That's great. I'll let you know which members of council do decide to perform. I'll keep you posted. All right, any other visitors at this time? There'll be 2 opportunities to address council. I see a hand up. I didn't see who it was. Mr. Lewis Johnson, yes. Thought he'd be in the pool this evening. Maybe enjoying a few fireworks.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Good evening.
First of all, I'd like to thank the Blackstone police officers for being very lenient with us on the 4th of July, not coming in and make us stop fighting fireworks and stuff. My second, and you, Mayor, for doing the work behind the scene. First, I own my own business too, and I'm not complaining because I'm not open on Saturday, so. But I had to pay $500 for my license, and I had to get a security bond to sell food. So my concern is it's a guy right across the street from the town, work right there selling barbecue, right across the street from the town where they work up here at the town business.
Yeah.
On Church Street on Saturdays.
Blackstone Barbecue.
Saturday.
So does he have his license, had to pay his security bond, got to pay meal taxes like I do? I mean, because I didn't get no break.
Well, hey, this is a very good point. Without picking on anybody, but from what I've seen of Mr. Ulrich's venture, it is very similar to Mr. Johnson's venture. It's called, I think it's Blackstone Barbecue and some Blackstone Barbecue.
You're right. It's not quite as mobile, but you're right.
Right.
You've got a great point.
What deems it as?
Well, let me set the record straight now. I do not sell on Saturday, so it's not affecting my business.
Right, you're not.
I just want him to do the same playing field like I was.
Absolutely.
It all depends on situs.
I was about to say, what's a permanent situs?
You gotta remember.
Yeah.
And it's all predicated. I even talked to Chris and found out exactly how he was doing it. But Jesse gave us an opinion not long ago. Right next to the carpet place, behind the monument on Main Street, there was a cart that was pulled in right there. And the question was, do I have to get itinerant merchant's license? And the response from Tessie is, if that cart remains permanently cited for a year, then no, it acts as a business. It's the equivalent of a business. A permanently cited business. If that thing's moved, they took it out now. So if they were to come back, they would have to do it as a permanent site.
Well,
he moves every week.
He moves because he got to load his truck up and come back to unload, so you move him.
I don't know what he's got arranged. I thought he was doing it out of Sloss.
It was at one time, but lately, the last few weekends, I've noticed that there've been. Does he have a business license?
I think he has a business. Chris, you're up there on Church Street.
All right. I'm going to ask the town staff as soon as possible ascertain number 1, the status of Blackstone Barbecue, and number 2, how it compares or contrasts with Tasty J's and other ventures like that. Because I do believe that both are in the food business, and they both are at different locations, mobile. Now, he does have a business license. Okay, but you had to pay $500 for an itinerant
I
license.
had to pay $500 for the town. I ain't coming out with license.
And that was last fall. That was just for the last 3 months of the year.
$500 this year.
Didn't we prorate his for last fall?
Yeah, you pay for like a couple $100.
Right.
But that's for 2 months.
We want to be fair to all, and that's a great point, Mr. Johnson. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Mr. Miller.
Okay, now, since we're on this subject, how are these people operating?
Business licenses?
Yes, how are they operating?
They're not operating legally.
Okay.
We sent them a follow-up letter, and maybe the treasurer can.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not blaming. I'm not saying nobody's not doing their job.
Right.
But if I don't pay my light bill, and if I
Shut down.
now you got people up here that have businesses, so you're telling me that okay, this man doesn't pay you $500. You're coming at him, but yet.
The same way we would come at anybody else.
Oh yes, okay, I understand this. But you give us a packet, and you've got people in here that have not paid their business license, but they're opening up their business every day.
The list has gotten a lot smaller because it was big.
But I'm saying though.
Not only business license, meal taxes.
I don't know about,
Yeah,
but I'm
these
saying.
are actual
I
restaurants.
think we got the meal tax covered. We're
Yeah.
pretty-
You know, I'm just saying I got to pay that too.
But you understand what I'm saying?
So question.
So we're not. I mean, I'm not blaming anybody.
Some more consistency.
But
We have sent out a follow-up letter, hey, with the treasurer.
I sent out certified letters on June 23rd, I think, or 25th, saying they all had to be paid by June 29th, or they no longer could do business in the town limits. A couple people got their business license otherwise. You actually have to find out if they are in business still. If not, they are doing business illegally. So the next step is legal action, and we're working on that now.
Mrs. Jones has a question.
Okay, I have a question. Now, if he got his license and had to pay taxes at that time, why when he got his license, he didn't have to pay taxes? I mean, if he had to take care.
The barbecue place?
Yes.
Was he, well, you have to be old and he's a tenant, right?
So everybody can hear me. There's a difference between an itinerant merchant or a peddler license and a permanently cited restaurant or business.
Brick and mortar.
Permanently cited, you pay a regular business license based on your gross sales. But the town has what may be a fairly archaic ordinance, but it's on the books, that if you are an itinerant merchant or peddler, you go up the street and sell vacuum cleaners or full of brushes or food, that you have to put up a surety bond and pay your taxes up front. I think what was going on years ago, and anybody that was here a long time ago could attest, I think people would come into town with a truck full of furniture, sell it, and they get out of here and never pay any taxes on it. And people like Schulz were confused why that was going on. So there is an itinerant merchant's license that if you don't have a permanent site, which is, it can be a cart, but if that cart doesn't move for 12 months, it's considered a permanent site. If you don't have a permanent site and you want the ability to move your business, the town's ordinance says you gotta have an itinerant merchant's license and pay your taxes up front.
That's $500 a year, calendar year.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is, okay, we still ducking and dodging the question with him because he don't have a permanent site. He just drives up there to the place, and when I did that, I had to pay $500 to go to your office, get a security bond.
I didn't know he was selling barbecue. We've had a long-running discussion with Mr. York about the barbecue on Brunswick Avenue. This has been a multi-year issue. He was doing it at home for several years, and it was really causing a lot of concerns with the neighbors, and obviously, he was not eligible for what's called a home occupation, because he had these big cookers out in the backyard, lots of smoke and noxious fumes and all those kind of things. So he had to find another location. I thought he was going to Sloss. This is the first I hear that he's selling them in town, and I don't dispute that he is, but we'll have to find out with Chris and find out what he's got going on.
Yeah, we were told he was gonna be at Sloss from now on, and that's how.
He told us when he was leaving his home that he was gonna go to Sloss and cook them out of Sloss.
I was on my way to Lake Gaston Saturday morning, and that's the first thing I see when I came across the bridge. You know, up there by the.
It truly is the first I know that he's in
Set up.
town, and we'll find out. And whatever's fair, and whatever he has to pay, he'll pay, and make it even.
If we,
Make it fair, that's all.
right. If we can find out the status, make sure we're fair, and also if we inform the council, and also if we could let Mr. Johnson know you raised the issue, and you're not picking on him, you want it to be fair for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not just a matter of who it is, it's just, let's be fair.
It's a little unsettling because, you know, Peanut came to us and said, what must I do?
To do the right thing.
To do the right thing, and he's done it right. And then this guy is he got, my question was, I think me and you might be on the same track. Did you get this business license under false pretense? Or what is our requirements?
We didn't know it was gonna be a peddler. We thought it was a permanent, he was permanently sitting in one place.
Okay.
Then he started moving around, and then we told him he had to get this, and then he said he was gonna cook out of Sloss, which, you know, is out of town limits.
Which he has been doing, but like I said, Mr.
Apparently now he's in.
There've been at least a couple sales on Church Street.
Well, the only thing, I guess my point is, it may be possible that a lot of people have done what Peanut's done here, and we've learned, and we've gotten better. So I guess what I'm leading up to and segueing to is that we need to relook at the way we issue business license, you know, by getting more information. So that number one, we're protecting the taxpayer, and number two, we're equitable to all that are receiving a business license. Or you bring me $15 and I'll give you a license. We're missing, it's an opportunity to raise revenue, but we're missing an opportunity to regulate. That's my point.
And of course, we all sitting here know that as much as we like to think so, that each of us tomorrow could decide, you know what, I'm going to go door to door and sell stuff. And unless the town police are called, people are doing that every day in Blackstone. And I've had people come to my house and go, you know what, I'm worn out. Do I want to call the police? And then I say, do it because it may be hurting a local merchant or hurting somebody else. And I've done it. But great points as always, Mr. Johnson. We appreciate it. We will get you the answers, and we will make sure we strive for consistency.
And thank you, Ben. I mean, this might be your last month here, but you did a great job on the books, though. I got to give you props.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Very good.
And I want to tell you too, I wish more constituents would take the time, come meet with your council members, express your views. I think you'd be shocked to find out that the people I've had the luxury of sitting up here with and the new folks that are here are dying, and they're willing and they're yearning to serve you. And you know, I've enjoyed you've met me several times in my office, and you've always been very courteous, and I appreciate it. I think we've had some great talks. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Anyone else who'd like to speak, address council? Yes, Mr. David Patterson, Taylor Street.
I have a big concern.
Okay.
I'm still working for Pizza Hut delivering.
Well, sir, as much as I'd love to be the savior on that, we have no say in that.
No.
Oh.
What I want to say is I'm still having problems finding 911 signs when I go to these addresses.
Oh.
And also, I brought it up twice to council. The fire department last year said that they would offer to put 911 addresses up.
The house numbers.
Yeah, the
They
house
did.
numbers.
They did.
A lot of them have not done it. Now, especially on Main Street. Main Street is the most dangerous spot for anybody delivering on Main Street. I'm not talking about to the businesses, I'm talking about the houses on there. Because you cannot see their house number from 150 feet away from the street. There needs to be something done like,
We have an ordinance. It must be, the numbers must be 5 inches in height and must be visible from the road. Yes, Madam Clerk.
Mr. Patterson, before the meeting, the electrical guys, the guy on the service truck has been riding around getting me addresses while he's reading meters and doing stuff.
Excellent.
I'm getting a list together so that I can send out the ordinance and letters to the property owners, letting them know that they need to get that one.
Excellent.
because I noticed you might have new fire department people here. I noticed that you might have new police officers coming on force. And if they call for 911, you can't read that address. It's a pain. It is a pain.
It
To
is.
find an address that, in case, you know, I'm not sure why don't have their because I was told last year with the orders that you're supposed to have your 911 address located on your signs. But again, a lot of our drivers and a lot of drivers that I talk to that work for different companies here in Blackstone that deliver also had the same problem with trying to find a 911 address.
Right.
Because of the fact, especially at night. Night, but even in daytime.
It's hard.
You know, like Pickett Court is one of, Main Street's one of our baddest. Pickett Court is one. Nottaway Avenue's another one. That you cannot see them signs. There's some signs that people got a wooden peg that says about that size with the address on it. That's what I suggest that people would do. I went ahead, I had mine done. The fire department came out and did mine.
Right.
It didn't cost me nothing. It's a free, you know, they volunteered you. All you do is give your telephone number and your address, and they will come out and check it out.
Well, you raised a good point. You know, if you live in the county of Nottaway, the county provides you a driveway post with numbers that are reflective numbers, so that's very easy. But for example, in my neighborhood, you take my house and take my neighbor across the street, Lafayette Dickens, we could have the biggest house number on our house and be in full compliance. But if it's dark, you're not going to see it. So it may be something.
It needs to be reflective.
Right, and like I say, some homes are close to the street and there's not a problem. Others are. When I call Brothers Pizza, I say, look, it's Billy Colburn. I got the American flag in my tree because 905 Brunswick Avenue means nothing to them.
Yeah. And
I got the house lit up like Christmas, so I'll make sure I get my pizza.
Yeah. But I'm just saying as far as other drivers too. Not
You're right. I'll tell you what, I'm going to refer tonight to Health and Ordinance, the town's house numbering ordinance, and see if we might need to add driveways for homes certain distance off the road or bigger numbers.
Especially on Main Street, because Main Street, you only got 2 lanes and you got.
You don't have time to slow down, and you run over.
If you got a Shoals truck coming in trying to find your address, that's gonna cause tire.
True.
Because he's trying to find the house and don't want to go past the house, but he can't see the sign because it's still 150 feet away.
I'm going to refer that to Health and Ordinance. And David Patterson, we thank you. It's good to see you again. It's been a while.
And one more thing,
Yes.
are you going to do anything about our electric bill as far as a payment plan?
Tonight, later on the agenda, we will be referring to the Finance Committee. Basically, in the town budget that was just adopted, that took effect July 1st, there is a plan approved by council to begin a budget payment plan in the coming spring. And there's a reason for that. The spring is better because you get a better average than to go into the wintertime doing that. But yes, this budget year, you're going to see the budget plan take off.
Because like I said, I don't wanna go through another winter paying $600 a month.
Last February was a nightmare. I can promise you last February was a nightmare for Brittany Harris, probably first and foremost, Philip, other people, and I got my share of Facebook messages as well. Thank you so much for coming to see us again. Anyone else before we get into the meat of our agenda? We're going to roll here. I see one hand, yes, sir. If you don't, is that Ben?
Yes, sir.
Ben Browder. I don't have my. Good. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. I have a question about the taxes, basically.
Okay.
The county and town taxes.
Okay.
Now, county taxes, I don't mind paying, but I'm just saying, do town pay the county taxes as well? Town pay the county and town tax.
Town doesn't pay anything. If you live in the town limits of Blackstone, let's say you own a house, you pay by December 5th to the county of Nottoway your real estate tax bill, and you pay a town tax bill at a lower rate, obviously, to the town of Blackstone. So if you and people will sometimes people.
The county rate as well.
The county rate is 47 cents per 100 value,
Okay.
and the town rate is 22 cents per 100 value.
Okay, now my problem is, I know a lot of people right now who's complaining about the taxes of the county. We receive late notices that they have not been paid or something, and then we got a bill with a lawyer that's almost $1,600.
That's the delinquent tax attorney,
And
yes,
that's
sir.
their delinquent taxes, but that's in Norfolk. How do you ever talk to them?
He's in. You are correct. He is actually Mr. Jim Elliott. He's in.
That's uncontrollable. How can you talk? Because you got two secretaries. Because I already talked to him twice.
Right.
And what's the thing? If you got 16 and 17 and you got the right to pay them, why couldn't you pay them as well before you even dealt with 14 and 15? If that's the problem.
What's supposed to happen? I'm gonna need a little help. I need a life net here. What's supposed to happen is the town and the county use the same delinquent tax attorney, and when it gets to the point where the town and county, or either one of them or both of them, have tried and tried and tried, it's referred to the delinquent tax attorney, who then proceeds with hardcore collection.
I respect that. Now, this is the thing. What did they send it to the wrong address for 4 years, but then send you the bill to the right place?
Well, we're hoping that our delinquent tax attorney starts mailing things certified.
How you get the four wrong addresses, but you get a tax to a lawyer in Norfolk, and you got to pay it in Norfolk to someone you can't contact. And this is the question: who do we talk to?
Well,
but you get the officer deliver the paper directly to you.
Right.
They can't fine you for to pay your tax.
Right.
So how you got 4 wrong addresses and we are wrong, and we got to find out a way to pay a man $1,500 when your tax is actually $160.
Well, if he sent you something erroneously to the wrong address, we've had an issue like that recently where someone.
And that's 1,500 man hours. Who done 1,500 man hours to get $1,500? Because my tax is $155.
But $400 an hour, it adds up pretty quick.
And going to Norfolk and making a phone call, and you don't see nobody. How is that possible?
Right.
Just a question.
Yes, sir. It's town staff. I don't know the specific. Mr. Browder. I don't know the specifics of your situation, but again,
this is a lot of people's situation.
Right, Mr. Elliott. What's happening here? Nottoway County is preparing, and I think you probably got to notice the county, not the town, but the county, right this time of year, is gathering this list of delinquent taxes. And what they're going to do in July or August, they usually.
When you go up to the county to talk to them, they say they already referred it over. They can't talk to you. You got a lawyer. You can't talk to you. What you do?
I can't speak for the county, but I know that if somebody came and wanted to pay me, I take their money. I know that.
See, that's the thing. Paying money that people don't have, and they don't have no reason to pay when they ain't already been made a mistake upon.
Right.
That's preying on them, not taking care of them.
But it sounds like to me you're talking about the county taxes.
County tax, exactly, because who do we pay if we can't talk to anyone? And then you got a $1,500 bill that you got to pay to a man that you don't even live in this county.
Right. He's paid by the county. You and I pay him.
County, and you wonder why you got a debt for 5 people. That's $7,500. What is you talking?
Right.
That's a heck of a debt. We're going to $155.
The Board of Supervisors meet, not trying to pass the buck, but the Board of Supervisors meets this coming Thursday at 7 o'clock.
I would like to be there.
Yes, 7 o'clock in the General District Courtroom.
That's incredible.
It is.
Do you know how much that is on one person, especially if they're elderly?
It sure adds up.
Tax rate on the light bill, please. I was just wondering, it's just a question.
If I could answer your question, I would. All I can tell you, generally speaking, that if a taxpayer in Blackstone or Nottoway is behind, they get noticed. For example, let's say Billy Colburn lives in 905 Brunswick Avenue. I didn't pay my taxes last year. Brittany's going to send me a letter saying, hey, Mr. Colburn, we have not yet received your taxes. If Billy Colburn doesn't respond or make any kind of effort, she's going to notify Jim Elliott in Grafton, Virginia. He is a town, and he also is a county's delinquent tax attorney. And Mr. Elliott is gonna publish a notice in the paper saying,
And that's something else too. You
well,
can
but normally what the purpose of that is not to embarrass somebody. It's that usually when that ad comes out, people are quick to act.
I own a business in Blackstone as well. And I walked to Walmart and I had Miss Norrell ask me if my barbershop for sale. So if my clients walk in and they think my barbershop for sale because of a tactic of a town, what do?
Your barbershop, they think your
Put
barbershop,
my barbershop in the paper as delinquent tax is going up for foreclosure and they take it. So that means my business closed. So who is going to accept to come off of Main Street to come in towards Pizza Court to see if I'm open?
it's a fair point.
So you already slandered mine as the death. So what am I supposed to do? Pay the taxes when you ain't giving me no more business.
I wish I had an easy answer for you. I wish I had a,
I have a question.
yes, Ms. Jones.
So how many years you have to be behind before it go to this attorney? I mean, is that 1 year? Gotcha, okay. Just that 1 year? Okay.
But this is another thing too as well. I came into town, I'm sorry to cut you off. I came into town and I paid my tax and I got the receipt for both. I paid 2 times and I asked them, can I pay the county right there? And at that time they told me yes, because I got the receipt for it. It's 2 different bills at 2 different prices.
We don't accept payment for county taxes, I promise
That's
you.
the thing. So how I got 2 bills on the same day for with the different codes? Then somebody took it.
I don't know, but I'll tell you right
There's a
now,
question going on when people ask this question, go in the county and say, we're going to town off, and they ask the people, say, look, can we pay our bill right here? And they say, yeah. And we end up paying the bill, and we got a receipt because they paperless now.
well, the town and county taxes do the same, is it December 5th or December 15th? One, yeah, your county real estate taxes are due December 5th, the town December 15th.
And I understand that, but what I'm saying is when people ask this question, and they tell you can pay, and you pay, and you got 2 receipts, and the county won't talk to you, so how you going to figure it out?
So they're telling you can pay here
No,
for
they
the
told me
county?
they can't talk to me, period, because I got a lawyer in Norfolk they got to deal with.
Okay, got you.
So what do you do?
They aren't able to talk to you, I'm not sure why.
Yeah, but he got 2 secretaries, and they won't do nothing until you send a certified letter by mail.
I strongly encourage you, I think these are good questions to ask your county
Because
supervisor.
honestly, this is what I'm doing to figure out because I was doing it myself in the process.
Right.
So I wouldn't bring it something I don't know of. I'm just telling you what I've been
And
doing
that's
since.
true, because I've heard that before from other
I
people.
have no
Said
reason.
trying to get in contact with them,
can't. Who is it? Is
I
it
mean,
male or a
really
female?
hard,
What is?
yes.
Who is it?
Well, what, I think, I want you to listen to me close, I'm not trying to defend the process. I think what they're doing is they're saying, it's turned over to the attorney, and the county just says, we're done with it, it's up to the attorney.
Exactly. But when the county put into that you don't have more my people walk in.
Right.
That means you done created a domino effect to my children and everything. What do I do?
Well, Ben, I think a good thing you need to do on Thursday when the board of supervisors have their meeting, you know, make sure you are there and try to get some questions from them. I mean, some answers from them. You know, especially if you're trying to work out some type of plan
It's
or
not the plan.
payment plan.
I want to get rid of the confusion.
I understand.
And what I would do between now and that meeting is maybe talk to Mr. Vaughn or Mr. Noel Shackleton, the supervisors in here, and maybe they can have an answer ready for you. Because if I'd have known you were coming tonight, I would have tried to get some more answers. You know, I'm not prepared. I'm giving you the best answer I have.
Respect.
I see Mr. David Patterson real quick. We got to move this.
Something that he said, because when you do go to the board of supervisor meetings up there on Thursday, they want a chain of, you got a request to speak to the town council. Board of Supervisors.
But they're good men and women. I think they want to help you. I do think they want to help you. I've got to move on with the meeting. Thank you, Mr. Brader. I'm sorry. Thank you.
No problem. I appreciate you.
I'll see you Thursday night at 7. All right. Who else would like to address council this time? We're covering a wide variety of issues, as we always do here. You too, Mr. Brader. All right, we're going to get on with our agenda. And you have your fire chief's report, and we do have our chief with us, Chief Dion Tomer, with a nice report. Some good anniversaries in your packet.
Hey, good evening.
Good evening.
Couple big things is we were awarded a 50/50 grant from the Office of EMS for a new defibrillator, which cost right at $32,000 for a defibrillator, and then some upgrades to Lighten. That's a 50/50 grant that council approved. Our aerial truck is back in the station.
Beautiful.
I put my email on there and telephone number if any of the new council members need to reach out or would like to take a look at your fire station. Please do not hesitate. If you see some people down there and you want to slip by, at home. big project is our bids for SCBA, our breathing apparatus. This council approved this to go to bid. This is to replace air packs that are going to be expired in 2021. And we did have sealed bids for this. Only one vendor came back with a price of $229,930.
Is there a reason there was only one? Are there more vendors out there?
It's almost like turnout gear. You're in a service district, and they want that vendor in that service district to get it.
I just hate to see one bid and.
Well, I do too, Mr. Nash. Is it a reasonable bid in your mind?
This
Cheaper than we thought.
mimics, I want to say Augusta. Augusta placed a bid. They did sealed bids, and this was the same price in that county.
Do we want to go ahead and go to that instead of waiting?
We'll take it up now, Mayor.
Business too?
You can take it up now if you'd like. I think, if I recall, 2 years ago, we had a conversation, the number was gonna be $350,000.
I think we're at $450 when we started this.
Yes.
Yes, we
Is
will.
this the final cost, or what else will there be?
There is one more item that we have placed on EVA for a fit testing machine. That's running, we're expecting about $13,000 on that.
I was reading through here, like, if you go down towards the bottom of the bid, it said chest strap option. It's only got one for $12. Are these just options? So
They're options.
So will the bid be more than this?
The bid's $229.
So the bid could be lower.
The overall purchase could be lower, yes.
Correct.
So these aren't additional items that could be added. They're already in the
Correct,
bid price.
in the bid price.
Gotcha.
I'd be remiss if I didn't say that we banked paying for it with cash money.
You did. I didn't think it was possible.
Okay.
Members of council, what's your pleasure?
If you feel it's fair, I mean, I just hate for a $229,000 bid don't be the only one, but I'll move to approve as presented.
I second, but you gotta, we followed the procurement process
No, we did, yeah.
by the General Assembly, and it is what it is, so I second Mr. Nash's motion.
It's over $10,000. I'll ask for a roll call vote, starting with President Thompson.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 7-0. Thank you, Chief. Anything else?
The item number 3, does that require, should council, take that $17,500 up and go ahead and make a motion to, pay the other half of the grant?
Accept the grant. Yeah.
Accept the grant and.
That would be in order. That would be in order.
So moved.
Mr. Green has moved to accept the grant that requires a match of $17,950. Is that money in the budget?
The money is not in the budget, but it is within the cap. What it is a mass testing that goes along with the SCBA's.
Okay.
And it's a separate item that was bid separately.
You're confused. That's,
This is totally different.
this is the Office EMS grant.
But what I'm trying to get to is, we got $250,000 worth of it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
That's where I'm headed.
Gotcha.
We talked about this earlier.
Yes.
Yeah, $250,000 worth.
Barbara
You
said.
guys just approved an award of $229,000, so that leaves us about $21,000 to work in the other direction, okay? We anticipate about $13,000 for the mask, but we're gonna bring it, Dion just looked at the bid today, so that'll be at the August council.
Okay.
Okay, so if you take 229 and 13, at 239, 242, it leaves us about $8,000 remaining for that 17, okay? We would ask that we be able to apply that $8,000, the difference coming from funds that have been set aside for the fire department through insurance collection and for apparatus purchases, and then we reimburse that amount of money ultimately over the next 6 months, so that we have access to.
Yeah, but the insurance billing, you've got a pretty good, about 20 grand pricing in there, don't you?
We spent a good 25 when we outfitted the command vehicle.
Gotcha. I forgot about that, the command vehicle. We went.
There is some cash in order to pay this, and it's a bit in excess, it'll be about $9,500, in excess of the $250 if we do all 3 of the items. The grant, which is 50% the town, which is approximately $17,950, and then you have about $13,000 for that mask tester, and then the purchase of the SCBA altogether. So we have the cash set aside. We're not asking to take it from any other source. We have the money set aside, either with money that the town has saved or money that the fire department has saved.
Mr. Green has moved and Ms. Thompson second to accept the grant for the new defibrillator and the emergency lighting on the EMS vehicle and with a match of $17,950. I'll ask for a roll call vote, starting with President Thompson.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 7-0. Anything else, Chief Tomer?
That is it.
Thank you so much. Mr. Wayman Mitchell, yes. Yes, sir.
You said it's $36,000 to $50, $36,000
The defibrillator itself is 36,000, and that's a 50/50 grant.
Golly, I remember they used to be $2,000. Wow, okay. Very good. Moving right along, you have your payment of bills. The first batch of bills is $655,414.59. They are not yet approved. Members of council, what's your pleasure?
Move to approve.
Second.
Ms. Hasbrook has seconded Mr. Nash's motion. Any questions on that one page?
I have one.
Mr. Nash?
Under Lori Lucas, it's a meter deposit return for $1,323. What kind, I mean, isn't our meter deposit typically $300?
This is for the Blackstone Pizza and Factory. They put up a, larger deposit for that.
All right. Okay.
That went under the diameter of the tap? Is that why it was higher?
No.
Bigger tap? Why was it a higher one?
Why wouldn't it just be
I
a?
think it went off the previous, person that was there, previous utility usage there. I think that's what it was based on.
Gotcha.
I was
If you
wondering
look
why it
at
was higher.
places like Rice Corporation, they don't have a $300 tap.
Gotcha,
That would make
okay.
sense that they have
So,
deposit.
All right, very good.
well, hold on a minute. Do we have a deposit from Colonel Bragg? Or Colonel Bragg's a new proprietor. Does he have we have to get a deposit from him? Not-
I'm sure we did.
Okay.
Yes, he.
Not that I
Mr. Nash
think
can
we need
testify
it.
to that.
Not that I think we need it, but anyway.
All right. I'll ask for a roll call vote due to the size of the payment of the bills, starting with President Thompson.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 7-0. Your next batch of bills to be paid totaling $168,331.88. Those expenses are in your packet. Is there a motion to approve? Ms. Thompson's move. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Green is second. Any further discussion or any questions?
I have a couple questions,
Yes.
please. On the first page on administration, utility bills, Caskey Graphics Incorporated, $1,458.
The postcards, the utility bills, we got, 38,000.
All right, enough said. Page 3, litter grant, Twist and Turn Manufacturing. Tell me that's more than one 30-gallon trash can for $1,800. It's trash, it says trash, 30-gallon trash can on page 3.
Multiple cans.
It's more than one? All right.
The shipping's mighty brutal on those things. That's a couple, $300 to ship.
Mercy. The only other question I have is to call your attention to page 6 and to page 8. It looks like an AC recovery machine, $2,100 on both. Is that half of it, or is it two machines, or?
It's for the garage. It's a split between the bus system and the shop.
So it's a $4,200 machine, and you accounting wise, okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Nash?
I've asked before, and Jennifer Hart's not here to answer, but again, we have under DBI, $117.06 for telephone and internet. And then under the CARES Museum, we have another $107. So each month it keeps adding up more and
I
more.
just don't know the answer to it. I know she's working on it. I know she's been after it. I know that there were some questions about it. I don't know where she's at
And
now.
I hope we're not paying for 2 telephone services for 1 office.
I think this may be for the June billing still, and so hopefully starting in the July billing. But I think she's keenly aware of your
Under community development, I want to point out that we, or I guess the police department, had a total of $290 in parking tickets this year, and it was donated to help. So
Really? That's the most written in parking tickets in a while.
it goes to a good cause, just so people don't think we're writing tickets to raise revenue.
What does a parking ticket cost?
It's
10?
actually down a little bit.
Depends on how long you park there, up to $100.
Up to $100? Oh, really? I thought it was a flat $10 fee or something. Okay.
What is,
Depends on where you park in the fire zone.
But the downtown,
Oh, but regular parking,
2 hour
10,
parking.
20.
What was the parking, tell me, just so the audience, the parking fines go to where?
$290 went to help as a food bank. That's what we voted on last year to
That's
start
right.
doing.
Good
So-
job. Mr. Miller?
what is Virginia, Maryland, and Delaware safety and training? What is that?
We do a monthly training for the staff, all the employees. It was originally started under Larry, and once a month we have a training officer that'll come in and do things like eye protection or confined space training, and all of our employees do that once a month, and it's about $1,200 if I'm not mistaken in the bill. But we do that for a couple reasons. Obviously, to train the employees on how to ride a garbage truck safely, how to wear, proper reflective clothing, all those kinds of things. But also, I think it bodes well for the town in the event we do have a suit or something brought against the town or to the town, showing that we have shown effort in getting employees at least a minimum basic training on different activities. But it's a safety training program offered by the Maryland, Delaware, Virginia co-ops. I think it was originally started with the electric system.
Any other questions? We have a motion and a second on the floor. I'll ask for a roll call vote, starting with Mr. Nash. Do you have any more questions?
Cemetery
Yes.
monument, reset monuments. Do we have insurance? What is our?
We have a $500 deductible on it. So no, as part of if you put a grave and we hit it with a lawnmower usually,
Correct.
That's how they usually get cockeyed. We have to put a cemetery fund that pays for them to be reset.
I just $975. So we wouldn't file a claim.
About 6 or 8 of them. No, I don't think it would necessarily be a claim.
Is it a per incident deductible?
Well, I can't. My experience at Kinston with typical wear and maintenance, we just had a bunch of roof leaks over school. And one of the things that they was brought up by the insurance company is we can't necessarily cover it as typical wear. Now, I don't think the town employs mowing grass on it, chipping the edge, and all those kind of things. Perhaps it would be, but I would dare say it probably not.
All right. We have a motion and a second on the floor. I'll ask for a roll call vote, starting with President Thompson.
Aye.
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 Motion carries 7-0. We have no committee reports that I saw in my packet. And you have a consent agenda. We've got 2 street closures. Members of council, what's your pleasure? One's a family reunion and one's a church gathering on School Street.
Move to approve of both.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
Just so we have correct information on the first consent agenda item, 810 3rd Street, there is no home there. Can we make sure that it's the correct address?
That's what she told me.
There's no home there.
It's the house up on the hill?
That's the lot I bought.
No, across the street on the hill.
So that's the wrong address.
Well, that's the address she gave me, but
So
anyway.
just have the right one to file.
True. And just so y'all, just in case y'all wondering, Saturday, August 4th is a street closure down on from Freeman to 3rd Street and 4th Street for a family reunion from 1 p.m. to 12 a.m. And then the second one is Mr. Melvin Hicks to close School Street on Saturday, August 11th from 1 to 6 p.m. It's a motorcycle run affiliated with the church, Green Chapel Church. Moving on to unfinished business. Our first one's one many of you have heard about. We have the rezoning request from Mr. Rick Byers, Northwest Avenue, the Gravett Farm, the Gravett property. Mr. Byers is here. Many of you were at the public hearing. There was a recommendation from the Planning Commission unanimous to rezone with the proffers. And I want to do something a little unusual, if y'all will bear with me. It was an unusual situation where we only had 1 public hearing, and we're not going to have a second public hearing tonight. But if anyone in the audience did have a quick question or quick concern, I feel like because it was expedited, I think the elected officials do owe the people a second chance to at least make sure you know all there is to know. I see one quick question. I don't have my glasses on.
Yes, sir. I have a question for Mr. Byers.
You live behind the property. Sir, can you state your name?
Yes, sir. You're a Heco?
Yes, you live behind.
Neighboring property.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. He said there would be a buffer zone of, he will preserve the trees there, the forest. There's a line of street. He kind of contradicts himself because the strip of the trees is 820 feet wide on one side, into my property, and on the back end of the property is 656 feet wide. So, I want to hit his take on it because he said that. He also said 100-foot buffer. So I want to know what it is.
You asked a good question.
It can be both.
Well, and you raised a good question. The Planning Commission, when it voted to make the recommendation, the motion that did pass included a stipulation that there be a buffer. I want to say it was 100 feet, but it should be in the minutes. That's what the Planning Commission recommended. Am I correct? I wasn't here, but I watched the video on Town Hall. The motion included the proffers and included a buffer to protect your property. I do recall that.
It was 100 feet.
It was 100 feet, if I'm not mistaken.
It was 100 feet, but he also said he will preserve the natural.
Well, I think he wants to, I think Mr. Byers wants to go beyond 100 feet. I think he wants a buffer wider than 100 feet. But the recommendation, he's going to be required to at least maintain a 100-foot buffer.
Yeah, 100 feet is not much, you know, this room is probably 50 feet long. I mean, you know, you got county ordinance, you know, there's hunting going on there.
Right.
I'm living on the county property. You know,
Right.
there's hunting, shooting, all kinds of, you know, activities like that, so, you know, I don't think it's, you know, that 100 feet, you know.
You raised a good point. One thing I will tell you, if there's any good news, what I've seen of the proposed activity there is a quiet residential part on that back property. So it's not going to be like heavy. And if they were, you know, if it was Luckstone or rock quarry, I'd be really scared for you. But based on what,
Well, it's gonna be thousands of people.
if it comes to fruition, yes. If it builds out.
It's a senior, you know, living, you know, all that stuff, hospital or whatever, so, you know, it's gonna be a lot of people.
Yes, sir. Just so you know, the hospital, all that is on the front end along Northwest Avenue. Where you are on the back end is more residential, but listen.
Yeah, I'm on the southwest.
Right. We will get all that straight and give you some clarity before this meeting ends. I thank you. Anyone else who'd like to ask a question or state a concern before we turn it over to council? It is one of the biggest decisions a council has had to make in Blackstone. Members of council, what's your pleasure? Staff, anything that's developed since the hearing?
Well, I've been away for a week, so nothing that I'm
Better not,
aware of. I do want everybody to be keenly aware of the proffers that were.
Yes.
Because I think they're going to be important. I think there were concerns raised at the planning commission in regard to the number of unrestricted homes or apartments or trailer parks or manufactured homes. And I think we want to make sure everybody understands this is a conditional rezoning and there are a series of proffers. No manufactured homes is being proffered, and these are voluntarily. This is Mr. Byers saying, I will not put in, even though R3 permits manufactured housing, double-wide manufactured housing, he has proffered that he would not put any in. So some of our discussion centered on, well, modular homes can look like a double-wide. People think they're manufactured housing. So he's proffered a roof pitch, which is usually the typical way to differentiate a modular home that may have a shape or a style or a design that looks like a manufactured home, but if you notice in the proffer, there's a roof pitch.
5 to 12, 5 foot to 12 foot.
Okay. Who would participate in the required off-site improvements? A traffic study, I assume, will ultimately be forthcoming, and based on the number of trips per day, looking at entrances, looking at Spring Hill Drive, looking at access to and from Northwest Avenue. He's agreed that the apartments, we call them multifamily dwellings in our zoning ordinance. Multifamily dwellings will be in the R3 age restricted only. So we added one additional item that Mr. Byers voluntarily included, and he said the apartments or multifamily would be limited to one 4.6 acre age restricted apartment complex. And if you look on the property, the only place that this rezoning would allow multifamily dwellings is on this.
What is the age, when you say age restricted, I mean 62 and older, 55 and older?
By law, it's 55 and older.
55 and older.
It's two different.
Gotcha.
One's 55 and one's 62.
Gotcha, okay.
It would be restricted to this 4.6 acre piece of property here.
On the front end.
That would be the only place that this permit, if granted, would allow multifamily dwellings. I think there was some concern, man, there could be thousands and 3,800, I think was the number that, no, it can't be, because multifamily is restricted to this one location. Now, townhouses and duplexes are not multifamily. Those are a different standard, okay? The R3 would permit those by right to go in there. Multifamily is restricted here, and there was some concern, man, they're just gonna divide this up and put a bunch of trailers in here or something. He proffered no manufactured homes, and no building permit can be issued for anything that is not a modular or stick-built home, okay?
And just for the audience benefit, because I want y'all to hear this, and I want to make sure I'm understanding it well. When you say proffer, that proffer doesn't just apply to Mr. Byers.
It runs with the property.
If he were to turn, several people have said, what if he just turns around and sells it?
Those are the deed.
Those proffers are part of the deed.
All zoning is property related.
I see a hand up. Yes, sir.
Why should the town or Blackstone be responsible for funding his project for $250,000 for Virginia Power that y'all supposed to be paying?
We haven't got to that part of the proposal yet, but it's a good question. I think that number's low, Mr. Johnson. I think it's gonna be closer to about 450.
466.
466.
The reason I'm asking that because You taking taxpayer money to pay for somebody else, can you go to the bank and borrow their money, they doing the business for themselves?
Well, the best thing would be for Southside.
We're gonna discuss that, we're gonna discuss that in just a second. We're gonna discuss that in just a second. Now, what you're asking the council to vote on is the application that includes something you didn't just say, but special tax district for three-phase
He
power.
would agree to do a special tax district. It doesn't obligate you to do it, but he would agree.
It allows
To
that
pay
if the
for
council
it.
decides. It allows, so members of council, you're being asked to vote to rezone the property outlined by Mr. Benorbak, and that would include a special tax district, but that does not, at this point, commit the people of Blackstone to anything other than rezoning with these properties. The next issue we're gonna discuss is about the money.
Let's get this out of the way. I move that the council accepts the planning commission's unanimous recommendation to rezone approximately 24.375 acres from R1 to light residential GB. The second is to conditionally rezone approximately 357 acres from R1 to R3, including the proffers and buffers offered by the developer.
And can we define for the gentleman in the back who spoke earlier, let's define the buffer. How big a buffer, how wide a buffer do you want to protect the gentleman that shared his concerns with you? I recall 100 feet at the planning commission meeting. I recall Mr. Byers saying there'd be larger than that. This is your chance to pin it down right now.
I'll include 100 feet in the motion.
All right, Mr. Green's motion includes rezoning with the stipulation of the 100-foot buffer along the, I guess that would be the south and western portions of the property line. That'd be correct?
Yeah, I don't think it's necessary up on the highway.
Right.
Or on Northwest Avenue, because that's commercial, but yes, the
Could
western
I
and
ask
southern.
a question?
Let me see if there's a second to the motion first. Is there a second to Mr. Green's motion? Mr. Nash is seconded. Mr. Miller, discussion.
Could he, as the developer, could he clarify, okay, some saying 100, some saying more.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Could he clarify what his buffer's gonna be?
By all means.
We're telling.
I mean,
Well, as I stated in the last meeting, because of the contour of the property,